Hello and welcome to Super OK, where we try to do a decent enough job to entertain people with our opinions on video games. My name is Dale, and I am joined here, as always, by some lovely additional humans. We're going to start with Mel. Mel, how do you feel as an additional human?
I feel great that I'm a human, but can I also be like a bean? Just an adorable bean?
A human bean?
A human bean?
I think I've used that in several previous episodes, but it's a good one, so yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Enjoy your beaniness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me just bean it up over here.
Yep. Xando, how do you feel about beans?
They make me toot.
Oh.
All right.
So let's have beans for every meal is how the thing goes, I think.
I think it's
right? Beans, musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, you better feel, but eat beans for every meal. But don't say it like I just did, because those weren't words.
Yeah. Yep. That's all of that's true. All of that's true. If only there were some sort of tongue twister you could have done immediately before starting the recording to make sure that your diction would be good.
If only.
Oh,
I've got other exercises to make sure my dicction's good.
Gross. Ridiculous. It's a video game podcast, by the way. But every week we, instead of talking about video games, we start by talking about our highlights of the week. Thing that made our week a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit nicer to live in. So who wants to share their highlight of the week?
Well, speaking of my diction, one of my highlights is that I got new underwear. And that's just a weird thing to be really excited about. But I found out they make like long leg boxer briefs. So everything is like snug and comfortable, and like nothing's like rubbing anymore while I'm at work walking around all day. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's great.
That ties into also just like work is cool. I don't know how many more weeks I'm allowed to like juice this one, but like, I mean, I'm not a footballman by any stretch of the imagination, but the Lions had their last game of the season, and I got to be literally on the sideline watching the TVs, which isn't the same as being at a live game, but like that's just a cool thing to do. And then other than that, Beta Ray Bill dropped for Marvel Snap today, and Beta Ray Bill's just fucking awesome. So I'm real excited about that.
Now, those underwear, I got to go back to those. Were they, is it like an elephant, or is it like a fire hose situation where like certain parts are tucked in certain places, or is it just like a generic,
it's got a pouch, my friend.
A pouch? Okay.
Got a pouch that separates and supports.
Wonderful.
It's awesome.
But it's not like a wiener dog? That's unfortunate.
What do you mean like a wiener dog? Like
It's not
stretches and it's going to have back problems?
There's not a specific place for the Frank to go, is what we're saying.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not one of those.
It's not like gross novelty underwear.
No, it's just some regular ass, got a pouch, boxer briefs for my old man body.
Congratulations.
I'm very happy about it. Thanks, man.
Good.
I know it's a weird thing to be excited about on a video game podcast, but
hey,
being my size, it's not size like diction, size just like in general. Finding underwear that fits properly while I'm working is just, it's a great thing, and so I'm very happy about this new set of underwears I got.
I feel like as you like become like more like as an adult, right? Like you get excited about like the smallest things, like
dude,
finding underwear. But no, like I get really excited for finding like a vacuum cleaner that actually sucks up like dust. Like it's weird.
I was making another diction joke. You were never mind. Sorry.
The smallest thing.
Oh
yeah.
It's okay. You're excited
right over
about
my head.
It's fine.
I was excited about things that sucked. So
right, exactly. Oh,
full circle, guys. Full circle.
I'm gonna bring it back. My highlight of the week is that I was really, 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 really stoked about Tekken 8 coming out. But as all of you know, I am not in a house. I am unhoused right now. And so the only way I was going to be able to play it was on the Steam Deck. And so Tekken 8 comes out. The demo worked flawlessly on the Steam Deck. I was so stoked. I downloaded the full version, got it on the Steam Deck, and then went to launch it, and it got through the opening cinematic and then hit me with a fatal error.
Oof.
And then I tried to launch it again, and it hit me with another fatal error. And it just would not launch. And then the day after Tekken 8 came out, I looked online, and they had released a Proton hotfix for it to like force the game to work on Steam Deck, basically. And so I installed that, and I got it up and running, and it was great. And I got into the Discord, and I was going to play some games against Ganon, and it would not work. And it turns out that I could play single player, but I couldn't play any online games.
What?
So I played a whole bunch of single player. I tried to figure out like which character I was going to play as my main and that sort of thing. But then last night, I loaded up my Steam Deck, and there was an update to Tekken, and I was finally able to actually get online and play a game or two against somebody. But that shit didn't launch until like 1:30 in the morning, and so I played like 2 online ranked matches and was like, it's working, yes. And then yes, exactly. And then I went to bed. But the game is gorgeous. The game handles really beautifully. It looks and plays great on the Steam Deck. The only downside is the Steam Deck controller. Like I need to get used to that, but I've got a Xbox controller with me. I'm just going to start using that. But anyway, I'm super stoked about Tekken 8 and super excited to be able to actually play it for real. It's what I'm going to do immediately after recording this podcast.
Ooh.
So yeah,
heads up, exciting. It's a short episode.
Yeah. And we're done.
Dale's going to give 1-word answers.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for listening. End episode.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you. That sounds like a really nice time. Are you gonna play against Ganon and try to whoop his butt?
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
We're gonna do it in the Discord. You'll be able to watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Well, my highlight of the week is being home by myself because my husband was out of town for work. And there's something really nice about like not having to check in with somebody while you're doing things and being able to just be like, oh, what do I want to have for dinner? I can eat literally whatever I want to eat without having to like make sure that it's what my husband wants to eat and having to negotiate, like, oh, is this what we want to eat? So I made myself like a giant bowl of like hot pot soup. Just because I was like really feeling like something spicy and hot and like with noodles, and it was delicious. And I was like so happy, like being in like just having hot pot.
Yeah, that's
10
awesome.
Out of 10.
That's awesome. It's weird because it's like it's not like you when Josh is around, like when your spouse is around, it's not like you're bummed out that you have to check in with them. It's not like you're bummed out that you want to be kind and like provide and like that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it does take an energy that you just don't have to worry about when you get to have just the rare solo day.
Right.
You know, like you wouldn't want to do it for like 3 weeks in a row or something wild like that. But every once in a while, it'll be like Ange is out with friends, and I'm like, oh, great, I get to go eat gas station chicken, and it's like, she'll never eat that. Dude, it's so good. It's called crispy crunchy chicken. It's so good. Yeah, it looks horrible in there, but it is delicious. But she'll never eat it. And so anytime she's away, I'm just like, sweet, gas station chicken. Yeah. And I get that. It's like, oh, now you don't have to make hot pot for Josh. You just make it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I can put whatever I want. If I want to put mushrooms in there, I can put mushrooms in there because he's not going to be eating it.
Yep.
The closest I ever get to that now is like lunch at work.
Yeah.
And that's the closest I will get to it until my kids are old.
Yeah.
Do you have to like make like very specific meals for your kids and then you also have to eat those meals, or do you make a separate meal for them?
Luckily, my kids are not very picky. And when they are, we're just like, dude, this is what we have to eat. You can be hungry or you can eat this. And so okay. That's just how we go.
Right.
We don't ever let them starve. Like they never like refuse to eat. But sometimes we would. The weird thing is when we try to make some things that are very easy that we think would be home runs for kids, they don't want it. And so it's, we just kind of have stopped trying to cater to them. And now we're just like making stuff that we like again. And if they like it, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool.
Then we also have nights where it's like chicken strips and mac and cheese. So,
what's wrong with chicken strips and mac and cheese?
Nothing, man.
Exactly. Exactly. I love it. It's funny that is your highlight of the week, though, Mel, being isolated, because this week we're going to talk about isolation, specifically desert island video games. Now, we've all seen Castaway, and we know that, sometimes you show up on your desert island and all you got is a bunch of FedEx boxes, and then one you refuse to open for some dumb reason, and a bloody volleyball that you name.
I've never seen the movie. Please stop telling me spoilers.
Whoa, you've never seen that movie?
No.
Are you going to watch it?
No.
Okay, well then I guess we're fine.
Especially not if you spoil it for me.
Well, I've only spoiled like the first 12 minutes that he's on an island and there's FedEx packages.
Yeah. And then you find out what he does with that unopened package.
Yeah. Could be anything.
Now I'm gonna have to watch because I need to know what he does with that unopened package.
Right? What's in the box?
I've seen that movie.
Anything.
I think it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Well, I think we all think it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head, but it could be anything. Anyway, so he didn't have any form of leisure other than a stupid bloody volleyball. We're not going to talk about that because that wouldn't be fun. So instead, we're going to talk about if we were on desert islands, what would we do? And so we're going to start, obviously, with the first question here. Because if we start with the second, that would still be the first. I'm a doofus. Assuming that you can only take one video game from any one system with you, and assuming that you have a TV, a stable power source, and no internet, which game do you pick to take with you?
I feel like I need to ask a clarifying question.
Yes.
Do collections count?
I think as long as it is available as a single package, it counts.
I would agree. Yep.
Because I love me some retro shit, and I think my answer for this has to be Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, which has Mega Man 1 through 6, all the NES Mega Man games, because I love those games and can play them to death, and I've actually been itching to play them lately. So being able to play all of those would be pretty great.
Okay. About how many hours, I'm curious, of gameplay is that? Like, how many hours would it take you to beat the first 6 Mega Man games?
Probably 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Oh,
but the nice thing about the Mega Man Legacy Collection is that it also has like challenges that you can do, like speedrun challenges. Okay. So trying to get all those medals would definitely add some time. But plus, like I said, I could just play those games over and over again, and I love them. So
yeah.
Does Mega Man also have like the timers like within the games, so you can actually like do speed runs or like time trials yourself if you wanted to?
Not for the full games, just in the little like mini game challenges.
Oh, okay.
But still, that's cool.
Yeah.
My answer for this question actually changes based on whether or not I am on the island alone. If I have someone else there with me, I'm picking Borderlands 2 with all of the DLC, like the Ultimate Edition that they released, like a couple years after the game came out, because there's a ton of content. It's split screen co-op. So I'm not going to like get into an argument with somebody about it. But if we are in an argument, there's like the arena mode where you melee the other person, they melee you back, and then you can fight. But there's just so much content. And then once you beat all of the content, you can upgrade the world level and do it all again. There's like a bunch of different playable characters. So the replayability on this would be absolutely huge. And I think it'd be a good activity for me and a different person. Along those same lines, if I'm solo on the island, if it's just me, I actually think I'm picking Elden Ring for very similar reasons, where it's like I'm going to be able to replay that game over and over again. It's probably the biggest game I've ever played, in terms of like map size, in terms of all of that. And then, I beat it really well with my my standard like combat person. Great. Now I can try magic build. Now I can try a summon build. Now I can try to do it where I never level up and I'm a maniac person. Like you can give yourself all these different challenges inside the game. And so I don't think I'd ever get bored with it. There will be times when I get frustrated with it, but then I'll just like stand up and use that frustration to like go clear another section of like jungle or whatever. So like I'll have a place to put that like frustrated energy. So
Sure.
I think it'll work well for me. What about you, Mel?
Interesting. I was thinking like if my computer could just be the Sims video game box, then I would just play The Sims 4 like all day, every day. I can't tell you how many times where I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna like load up The Sims and like play the game, but I end up like building a house for like 3 days straight. Just customizing like how I want to build the room, like think about like where I want to place the windows and make sure it looks nice, that that I can see like my backyard and stuff like that, and like really get into like all the details of like creating a home. And that's just like creating a home. Like, and then there's like the whole like I'm gonna build a family, and then there's challenges within The Sims where like I could have a generation of like 100 different families like within one playthrough, and that could be a challenge that I could work through. And then there's like all these different types of like career options. Like the stories that I can make in The Sims is just absolutely endless. And I also think that it's going to fulfill a need for me of like socializing with people, but I get to socialize with like the computers in the game. I would never have to like really worry about people ever.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't think about is like the socialization aspect. Like The Sims would definitely crush that for you because it's like
Totally.
you can pretend that you're one of the characters and you're like making friends, or you can view it as like more of like a god mode zoomed out where you're like, oh, I'm watching this story unfold. Yeah, I think that part of it is brilliant. I think the part that would crush me about it is like I had to build a shelter and now I have to build a house. And this house is so much better than anything that I have right now,
Yeah, but like I would just think of it as like manifesting my destiny of like having somebody come and find me, and then I can just like have this house eventually, and like this family and these friends I currently don't have.
Yeah. That's interesting. All right, so now let's flip it. And now all of the same parameters apply except for the fact that there is internet, but only enough for that game and you cannot use it to call for help. Does that fact change your answer?
Yes. I think for sure it does.
Because now you got the internet. The internet's like at your fingertips, right? Like the number of games just infinitely explodes because you get to hang out with people now.
But it's only for that one game. So you have to really hope that you got a good community or at least something that's going to keep you entertained, which is why I'm choosing Super Metroid Zelda 3 combo randomizer. Because I get both Super Metroid and Legend of Zelda Link to the Past mixed together. And if I've got the internet, I can download endless seeds so the game is different every single time.
Oh.
And that one does have a timer, so I can try to time myself and see how quickly I get through the game. So that's my answer. I think that's the easy answer.
Do you need to actually have like the internet to have the endless seeds, or like is it? Yeah, you do. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to download them from the main website every time. Otherwise, you're just running the same one over and over again, which is still fun. I mean, it'll take you a while to memorize it because there's so much to find. But having the different seeds so that the morph ball's not in the same spot every time, or something like that.
Is that typical of most randomizers? Because I've seen where like you can download a randomizing program which would like do the randomization like on your computer for you.
It depends on the game.
Okay.
Some games have the ability where it'll just like change the location of the items in chests and that sort of thing, or where bosses are. but the way that Super Metroid Zelda 3 works, it's creating a fresh ROM every time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fancy.
Yeah, and they do
Okay.
those so that you can set out specific seeds, and you could have like race seeds. So that if on the SMZ3 Discord, they throw out a seed every single week, and they have a race for times, so people can to see who have the fastest time there. So that way they can, it's not something random every time you start the game up.
And it also has the ability to like add specific parameters in it where it's like it won't lock you out of the game. Whereas if you were just like telling the game, hey, randomize every item, like maybe the morph ball is in Novaria somewhere and it's like, okay, well now you can't ever get it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And you can change your sprites so you can play as Link and Super Metroid and and Samus and Zelda. So, just silly stuff like that.
Oh man. Yeah. It's definitely cool. It's definitely a good answer. I think my answer is Warframe. I think there's just so much to do in Warframe. There is so many wacky side things to do in Warframe. Did you know that Warframe has like a Rocket League mode in it?
Where what now?
Warframe has like Rocket League in it, basically. Like Warframe soccer.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Crazy.
It's got a multiplayer mode in it. It actually has two different multiplayer modes in it. One where you're like PvP against one person, and then another where you're PvP and on teams against each other. And it has a whole different set of mods and stuff that you use for it. It's absolutely crazy. There's like space combat, there's spaceships, there's like mech combat, there's pet breeding and collecting. Like there's so much to this game. And they are constantly adding to it. So even if you're like, oh man, I beat all of the content that currently exists, it's like, oh cool, wait a month. There'll be more stuff,
Right.
So I think Warframe is my easy answer for that. What about you, Mel?
So I'm going to pick Final Fantasy 14 because it's kind of similar to Warframe where it's a live game, right? Like there's going to be more content coming out for it, but like there's also the social aspect of like you getting to be part of a community. Obviously, I can't tell my community that like I'm, on a desert island or anything like that, but at least I get to like talk to somebody and like have the option to like chat with people. And then there's so many different like things to do in Final Fantasy 14. Like I could just play the fashion game like, for months and be happy about it. I have yet to do farming in that game. And I heard the farming is like really cool and interesting and built and like having your own home and, being able to like decorate your home sounds really cool. So yeah, I think Final Fantasy 14 is going to be up there for me. Plus there's just like so many quests to do. And some of the quests are like kind of ridiculous. Like the Manderville quests, like why are they always so silly?
I just happened to think you're on this desert island. How are you going to pay for that subscription, bro? But then I remembered
that's a
you've
great
got
idea.
that free trial all the way through Heavensward, if not farther now. But then you're also locked out of some of the different things, But it's a really good answer. I almost considered switching mine, but then I thought about Super Metroid and couldn't.
Yeah, I get that. Plus, you get to get on the boat.
Go fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishing in that game is real
Fishing's
good.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think that's a really good call. Really good call.
The other thing too about like Final Fantasy 14 is that because a lot of the events are like timed, it gives me something to look forward to, right? Like I know that every hour it's going to be the fishing quest, or is it every hour? So yeah, like I can just like go and like, okay, like in an hour I'll go fishing, or then I can wait until like a new raid drops and I'll be like, okay, I can just wait for the new raid.
Yeah.
Whereas in like I feel like in other games, if I were to pick it, it's like, what am I looking forward to now? Like,
yeah,
I just have to come up with stuff on my own.
Yeah. Also, both Final Fantasy 14 and Warframe have like clans and that sort of thing. So that social aspect that we were talking about, I think that would really help to alleviate a lot of that. Even though, to your point, you can't tell them that you are on a desert island and battling scorpions or whatever the other weird shit is happening on your desert island. All right. So flipping the script completely here, what game have you enjoyed that you absolutely would not want to play on a desert island?
So I read this question wrong, and I just literally read the last part of it is like, what would you absolutely not want to play on desert island? And I'm like, horror games, because horror games sounds scary if I was by myself and then playing a horror game.
Yeah.
But if I actually were like, what game I wouldn't want to play on a desert island by myself that I really enjoy now? Probably Stardew. Like, I feel like there's something about Stardew that I need to like it's so casual that like I need to like pick it up, put it down, pick it up again. Here's a long stretch of me like playing this game and then putting it down. Whereas I feel like other games would be like I would need to be actively involved for a long period of time to be happy to play on a desert island.
I think that's good. I think that's a smart way to look at that. What's interesting about picking Stardew though is that like you again, like it's got that socialization, like the dating side of stuff and all of that. So it's interesting that it's on your like no island list or whatever.
Yeah.
Island game.
Well, we've discussed previously that Mel doesn't go for the dating aspects of Stardew Valley.
That's very true.
That's true. That is true.
I have yet to get married in Stardew Valley, except to my husband when we played multiplayer, but that doesn't count because I'm married to him in real life.
Yeah. Fair. I'm going to go with any survival game. I have enjoyed like we've talked about most survival games don't hit the spot, but like I've enjoyed Pal World. I've enjoyed a couple other survival games. And I don't want to do that because I'm already doing it. Like, I don't want to spend all day building a shelter only to kick my feet up to relax and have to build a shelter in a game, you know?
Yeah.
That shit sounds dumb as hell. I don't have to worry about like, am I getting enough food in real life and also in a video game? I don't want any of that. So just throw that entire genre in the garbage, in my opinion.
That's fair.
No, man. What about you, Zando?
Probably to the surprise of many folks, I would not want Street Fighter.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. Just because like I feel like weirdly as I say that Mega Man would be like a great thing for me to play in a desert island, I feel like I would get burnt out on it. Plus like I'm decent, but if I'm on the internet with people who are just beating my ass all the time, I'm not going to have a good time. Granted, I'd get a lot of lab time in, I probably would improve, but that's not something I would want that to be my only option. And
Sure.
there's some cool like single player stuff, but it's kind of repetitive. And if there's not the chance of just eventually playing with people I like or whatever, like I just would rather put my desert island time towards something else.
I could see that.
That's an interesting call. That's a really interesting call.
What we're learning here is that even if I'm on a desert island, I don't really need other people. All my answers are like, I could do this by myself. Community? Bah.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. I definitely thought Street Fighter 6 would at least be somewhere in like your top 10 or something like that. So to hear that you're like, no, get it all the way out. That's really interesting.
I love playing, but there's times where I'm playing and I'm just getting the shit kicked out of me. I'm like, I'm not having fun with this anymore. I'd rather have something that I know I'm never going to feel that frustration with.
Yeah.
Another game that I had considered was Marvel Snap. You know, if I can have the internet, because that's always changing and change up decks all the time. But there are times where I straight up want to throw my fucking phone when I'm playing that game. And I'd rather not have that if I'm by myself on an island.
That's very true. Like keeping your sanity like on a desert island is very important. So getting frustrated over a video game is like not conducive to that mental state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. So now you got a game and it works completely. And your only goal is to use the in-game communication to convince someone to get people to rescue you off of this desert island that you are trapped on. You don't know how it works. The game just functions. It's connected to the internet. Which game do you pick? And I'm going to go first on this one because I tried really hard to think of a game that has the best community and people who would believe the incredulousness of my request. And I'm not going to lie, I couldn't come up with one. Like I couldn't think of a game where I'm like, I could talk to people and be like, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm stuck on a desert island. here are the constellations I can see. Like, please send someone to like save me, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so instead of going for the most like non-toxic or the most gullible or the most believable community, I decided to go by sheer volume of humans, right? Because like, what are the odds that I'm going to be able to get like one out of the X number of people who are still playing Anthem, for instance? Like, it's such a low player count
Sure.
that like the odds are pretty low. So I have gone with GTA 5 Online.
Interesting. Like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just the regular like GTA 5 multiplayer that's like Rockstar approved, not the RP, right? Because I can imagine you RPing and people being like, dude, like you're not on an island. Like you're in Los Santos.
You can go onto any of those servers through the game, right? It's not like the RP servers require modding. And so in theory, you can go into those RP servers and like, hey, I know this sounds crazy. I need you to please like it's possible that the RP people will think you're RPing, but it's also possible that you could like get some of those people to actually call like the National Guard or whoever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why I went that route. My initial thought was actually Fortnite, just based on solely on sheer number of players. But I think there's way more adults that'll be on GTA. And so it's far more likely that those people will have the resources necessary. Like, imagine if you're in the National Guard and some like 11-year-old kid calls up and is like, hey, I'm playing a video game with a man who says that he's trapped on a desert. Like, that kid's not getting any traction. But it's possible that, like, I don't know, I get on Felicia Day's stream if I'm playing GTA 5 and doing RP stuff. And it's like, okay, maybe one of her viewers will like call for me, like something, please.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that was my thought process on this. What about you guys?
I kind of went a similar thing, going for the lonely, desperate masses, and just go to like Call of Duty or something like that and pretend to be a girl and be like, oh, I'll totally just like bang you if you come get me off this island. And then they'll come rescue me because they are desperate and want it.
Your girl voice
sounds really attractive.
It
and
sounds
you
like
come and rescue me from an island.
It sounds like Butters from South Park.
Well, then I'll track in the pedo crowd.
Oh, geez, man.
God. Somebody's gonna come after you.
Rando has decided that the best possible strategy to get off a desert island is to catfish some horn dogs.
It's a legitimate strategy.
It's a strategy.
I'm sure that it would work on some people.
Maybe World of Warcraft. You know, those guys got money because they're paying to, keep playing this game. Unlike Call of Duty, where they basically give it away for free every year.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'm just being mean this episode. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, internet.
No, it's okay. I was actually also gonna say Call of Duty, but I was like also thinking like Overwatch. But the reasons is the same is because I've heard that within those two games they have like people listening into the voice chat so they can like hear hateful speech or whatever, or like things that are like wrong. So I'm like hoping that like maybe a game dev or a community person would be like listening into my party chat and be like interested to hear my plea, and then be like, okay, where is this person actually located in? And then just like utilize, like try to figure out my IP address and be like, that is weird that they're on like this weird island of some sort. And maybe they'll like reach out to me to be like, yo, do you actually need help?
So you're banking on like the kindness of mods.
Yes.
That's interesting. I like how we all took different approaches here to the strategy. It's like I'm going with a scattershot approach. Mel's going with a very focused like spear fishing approach where she's got like specific people she's trying to get in touch with, and Zando has gone with the to catch a predator method.
Mm-hmm. It's a win-win, especially if I get like some child predator to come to the island, because then I'm getting off the island, but then I'm also just going to punch the guy when we get back on the mainland.
Yeah.
Wow, you really thought that through.
I didn't, but when Dale mentioned it that way, I was like, oh, to catch a predator and I get off the island?
Yeah.
Seems like the way to go, really.
That's great. All right. So while you're waiting to get rescued on the island, you find out that the island is just a giant simulation based on an existing survival game where you are on an island. Which survival game do you wish it was, and which game do you dread it being?
I really hope that it's Dragon Quest Builders because that music slaps and I understand how to build all the things. Conversely, I don't want it to be Minecraft because I don't understand the science of that shit at all and will die much faster.
Oh my god, could you imagine that there's like creepers just coming into your base just willy-nilly and you're like, okay, this is happening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I realize that they're both basically the same thing, but one's just got Dragon Quest skinned over it, and that makes me happier. So I'm going to go with that.
Fair enough.
All of the enemies in Dragon Quest Builders don't explode, right?
Yeah.
No, but there's some pretty ferocious enemies.
Right, but all of the enemies in Minecraft explode,
pretty much
destroying the stuff that you've built. So yeah, I think you've made a smart choice there.
I'm hoping that my island is similar to Raft, because then I could, I already know how to play that game. I can build a boat to go from one island to the next if I truly wanted to, and then I can poke the eyes out of a shark and then wear the shark's head as a hat. It sounds like fun, but I definitely don't want the game, my island, to be grounded where I'm a small human and then there's giant ass bugs that I have to go and fight off, giant spiders and giant ants. That is absolutely a no for me.
I have to back you up a little bit because you talked about poking the eyes out of a shark and wearing it like a hat.
Yeah, you didn't know that you could do that in Raft?
I don't think you could do that in real life. How are you going to get the shark, Mel?
Well, I mean, in Raft, when you're on the thing, the shark just comes and bites your boat, just randomly, and it happens so often that you have to poke it with the stick, and then eventually it dies, right?
Okay.
And then if you poke it so hard enough, it dies, and then you can gather materials from your shark, like shark meat, but you could also get a shark head that you can wear as a hat.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think it not being grounded is definitely a good call. That shit is terrifying.
Right?
Orb weaver spiders and shit coming after you. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I personally hope that I am on an island that is Animal Crossing.
Ooh. Yep.
First off, at some point you unlock the ability to go to other islands and get some folks to move in with you. So that seems pretty cool. Having a giant purple hippo to hang out with as my friend, great. So that's great. Also, outside of some bugs, there's no combat in the game to speak of, so I don't have to worry about fighting anything, which is really nice. The flip side of that is a little game called The Forest.
Oh my god.
Which I really, really, really don't want to be trapped in. That game is not only is the survival aspects of it really difficult, but also it's creepy as fuck. There's a cult. There's hidden dangers everywhere. There could be traps anywhere. Resources are super limited. So I really, really hope it's not The Forest.
Oh god, I have feelings on both of these things, but I'm gonna start with Animal Crossing. If your island was like Animal Crossing, I don't think I would ever leave because you would have everything on your island. You would have really nice neighbors that you get to hang out with and jam out to some sweet ass music. 10 out of 10 would stay there forever.
But is Animal Crossing a survival game?
It's got survival aspects.
It's got elements of it.
Craft.
I guess.
It's crafting and I guess
the same way that Minecraft is a survival game.
Yeah.
Sure.
Except there's no combat. It's a combatless survival game.
I guess the only downside about Animal Crossing being your island is that capitalism. You
I owe Tom Nook so much money.
So many bells.
Man, just invest in this in the stock market, man. You make so much money off turnips. That's the way to go.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing to just have people
if
show
real
up to
life
your island.
Money worked like the turnips in Animal Crossing, I'd be so set with all the comfortable underwear I'd ever need.
I hate to break it to you.
I'm sure it does. But
real life money does work like the turnips in Animal Crossing if you're already rich.
Oh, see, that's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah. All right. Let's imagine.
No, we're going to talk about the forest next because that game is super, super scary. Like, are they actually cultists or are they zombies?
I don't know. I didn't play long enough to find out.
That's fair because I did the same thing too. I think like the first time I played that game, I was like, oh, look, a survival game. Like we crash landed in a plane and we're here to survive. And then I explored by myself at night without a torch or whatever. And that was like the worst thing that I could possibly do because all these people were like chasing me and like trying to murder me. So I can't imagine like my desert island being like that, where I always have to be like on edge to like survive. I would just die. Just give up and be dead.
So I just looked it up, and there's 2 different enemy types in the forest. One type is cannibals.
Ugh.
And there's like 9 different categories of cannibals, including one of them who wears a mask of a different human's face over their face. So that's cool. And then the other type of enemies are creepy mutants.
Ugh.
And those are exactly what they sound like. They've got like too many legs or sometimes too many arms, or that one has too many torsos. So like, yeah, just all of them are bad and gross and bad.
I also heard the forest has a like you have to go into caves to find like very specific like crafting items. And I feel like cave exploration by yourself would just be terrifying.
Yes.
Like that is not something I'd be interested in doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely bad. Definitely bad. I have watched several YouTube shorts of like, I got trapped in a cave and here's how long it took for me to get out. And like, I don't want that. I don't want any of that. I don't know why YouTube keeps serving me up that shit also. I need to start telling it not to. Because it's creepy every time. It is the algorithm. It's just like a true car crash scenario where it's like, well, I didn't want to watch this, but now I have to know how it ends, you know? So, all right. So let's now imagine that this benevolent being that keeps putting us on islands instead lets you bring one gaming system along with all of its games, all of the games that are available for it. Which system do you take with you and why that one?
The easiest answer in the entire world, the Super Nintendo. It's got a bunch of banger games, and there's like, I mean, you got Final Fantasy VI, you've got Chrono Trigger with its 14 different endings. There's just so many games to play for it. Also, you don't have to worry about, I've never had my SNES over the past, how many years has it been? Almost 34, 35 years, has never broken on me. I've never had trouble getting games to play on it. And I just think there's just so many good fucking games on that system. So that's the easy answer to me.
Yeah, I have to agree. Unless I decide to go with like a cheaty answer, I think SNES is the real answer. Like you mentioned 2 games initially. I have never played either of those games. And so, or I shouldn't say that. I've played them, but I've never beaten them, you know, because it was like, oh, I borrowed it from a friend for a night. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not enough time to get anywhere inside Final Fantasy VI or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the SNES, it's got so many games that I haven't played. It also has 2 of my favorite games of all time on it. It seems like the best answer to me. But there's a bunch of different systems you can make an argument for. Mel, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a somewhat cheaty answer because I'm picking the Switch. But does that include like the Nintendo Online stuff where I get to play SNES games?
I think so. They're available for it.
Yeah, I think all its games. That includes all the creepy little hentai games that are on sale all the time.
Yeah, see, then I get to play all of those, right? So I can get, you know, a video game system. I can like, you know, play Mortal Kombat with this weird ass character eyeball things that are happening. I could use the Ring Fit to stay in shape. And apparently now I know that there's hentai games on there. Look, I got my porn.
Many.
So like Entertainment solved.
Perfect.
It always weirds me out going through the Nintendo eShop and like looking through like the great deals category and just seeing games that are just straight up hentai. Like, oh, that's the title. Cool.
That's so crazy. Can kids get into that?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it's constantly on sale for like $2.
That's wild.
And it's just like puzzle games that as you complete the puzzle, like, oop, you get this kind of sexy picture behind it.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really disturbing.
Ever since the Wii, Nintendo has had a problem with just like an immense amount of shovelware being available on their systems.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I kind of like want to try them all. Like I don't want to spend like $2 on them because like I feel like some of those games like they could be good. They could be really good. Like they could be really hentai, right? But like it could be a good puzzle game.
You don't even know.
Like they accidentally built a good game like while they were trying to like get their porn on or whatever.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I was just talking.
The $2 definitely gets you on some kind of list, but if the benevolent desert island god gives it to you, then no harm, no foul. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I was actually just talking to Dane about some game that came out on the Switch, or not on the Switch, some game that came out on Steam in which your character like switches genders as part of the game, and it's also like one of those like porny games. But he's like, the gameplay in it is amazing. I do not remember what it's called. Dane, if you hear this, please drop it in the Discord, because I'm sure somebody out there is going to be interested. Also, some of that shovelware on the Switch that's like $2, it'll sometimes go on sale for 90% off. I got Ski Sniper for like 20 cents.
Wow.
And Ski Sniper is a shovelware game on the Switch in which you are trying to snipe skiers as they're jumping. And so you're just like set up with a sniper rifle, and when someone jumps off the jump in this skiing game, you shoot through them and it slows down and goes in bullet time like all the other sniper games, and it's like you hit the sniper in the lung and the heart, and it gives you points for all the organs you pierce and all that. Wow. It's great. It was like $2. It's amazing.
Yeah. See, it's like that, like weird games like that I just kind of like want to play, but I don't want to spend money on it. Huh.
Fair. I like how Xando and I were like, let's play all the classics. And Mel's like, I'm going to save like $1,000. I'm going to play all the worst shit.
All the terrible games.
I believe it's called Flipwitch.
It is called Flipwitch.
And it took me a very long time to find it, and as I immediately regretted typing in gender switching porn game on my computer.
Oh no!
Well, you're on a list now.
Delete your history.
Quite a bit. Yeah, I'm on the list. I may as well go spend the $2 on the Switch hentai games.
Yep. Flipwitch, which the subtitle of is called Forbidden Sex Hex. So pretty good.
Yeah, the images are very interesting. Yep. Lots of boobs. Lots of boobs.
It's called a fairly decent, very not safe for work Metroidvania.
Okay. I didn't know it was Metroidvania. Guys, I'm about to be on another list.
I was gonna say Xando's scooping that game up right now.
Just see how much it is real quick. Next question.
No, we're sticking with this one.
I'm pretty sure if it's on sale, like I'm just gonna gift it to you.
Are you wishlisting it right now? Oh man. Yeah, Dane says it's good. I don't know. It's possible somebody was like, hey, I'm gonna like contract a developer to design a hentai game for me, and the developer was like, let me throw down this absolute banger. You know? Oh man, there are commercials like that where it's like, holy shit, the song for this is so good. Like, I don't know. All right, so I think the one other thing I wanted to talk about on this question before we move on is I did think about the cheat answer of a Steam Deck, which seems ultra cheaty. But when you consider the fact that RetroArch is available in Steam, does that now mean that all all of the game systems that can be emulated by RetroArch on the Steam Deck are available? And if so, then I change my answer to that. I know it's not very fair or in the spirit of the question, but man, that's probably the real answer. If you have access to every game on Steam that can be played on the Steam Deck, that's a lot of fucking games.
That's a lot of games.
I would ask Sando his opinion, but I'm pretty sure that he is just looking at images of Flipwitch.
I finally found, because I typed in Flipwitch on Steam and it like wasn't showing up. I was like, what's happening? And finally it said some titles have been blocked, including this, based on your previous searches or something like that. I was like, oh, that's what I wanted to see. And then I'm just like in awe of this trailer that's there. Like, I cannot believe that this is a thing that I'm probably going to buy.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
You should just buy it when it's on sale. Just keep it on your wish list.
Yeah, put it right on your wish list. On your public-facing wish list. Oh God, that's amazing. All right. Do we want to keep talking about Flipwitch, or can I move on?
We can move on. I've closed the window.
Because you already got the purchase confirmation.
Not yet.
Oh, man. All right. So this last question here is sponsored by Inversion Tables. They say that the best way to see the world from a different point of view is to, quote, flip that bitch and flip yourself upside down. Sure, I guess.
I thought we weren't talking about Flipwitch anymore.
I wrote this question before we were talking about Flipwitch, I promise. Inversion Tables wants to know, what game would you want to send to your worst enemy's island that they are trapped on to give them the worst possible experience? And I want to go first on this one because my answer is Eternal Darkness for the GameCube. I've talked about this at length before. I think that game is brilliant, but also, to Mel's point earlier, your sanity while you're on the island is really, really important. And Eternal Darkness fucked with my sanity when I was just like working a full-time retail job and living with roommates. And so I cannot imagine the like craziness that Eternal Darkness would cause to someone who was on an island. For those of you who are unfamiliar or haven't heard previous episodes where I talk about it, Eternal Darkness is a game where as your sanity in the game goes down from like seeing monsters or murder or violence and that sort of thing, it starts fucking with you. So it'll like make it seem like your TV volume goes all the way down, and then you turn the volume up on your TV so that you can hear the game again, and then all of a sudden it comes back and like blows your ears out, right? Or it'll make it seem like the TV lost power, or it'll make it like you walk into a room and your character just dissolves into a puddle of blood, and then you walk back into the room again. And so it totally is constantly messing with you. And I would like to imagine that it will drive my worst enemy insane.
Dang.
That sounds... I mean, I just have always wanted to play the game. So I saw that answer. It's like, man, how do I become Dale's enemy? And I think it's by going through the stock market and becoming a billionaire that way.
Yeah, I mean, I do famously hate billionaires. Mel, what's your answer for this?
So I had to look it up. The one game is actually a mini game within a larger game, but it's called Desert Bus, and it was made by Penn and Teller, like on this game called Smoke and Mirrors. And apparently, this one mini game, Desert Bus, is just a driving simulator through the desert, and you just drive for like eight hours or something like that, and it's just straight. So like every once in a while, like you have to like make sure that you're like within your lane, but that's it. Like sometimes a bug like hits your window, or like sometimes you have to like, you know, dodge I think it's like dodging some rocks or something like that, but that's literally the whole game, and you have to do that for 8 hours.
Yeah,
that sounds horrible.
A friend of mine said he was going to stream that as part of like a charity stream, and he's like, it's going to be like 8 hours. I'm going to do the whole thing. I was like, okay. And I checked in with him every once in a while over 3 hours. And then all of a sudden he stopped playing. He's like, I couldn't do it. It was so boring.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Apparently,
That's
there's
amazing.
also like points in the game where like it's not points per minute. And it's not points every 10 minutes. It's like a point for every 8-hour trip you make successfully.
That's insane.
That's awesome. Dude, I did not realize. I had obviously heard of Desert Bus, but I did not realize it was on the Sega CD first off, and that it was part of a collection of other games made by Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Totally wild. Totally wild. There's 2 multiplayer scams in there where it's like you're supposed to like get the people that you were playing with to like bet on the game and then you can rig it in your favor. Like this game is ridiculous. Also, there's like a Double Dragon game in there where you play as Penn and Teller.
Oh, that's new.
That's
Yeah,
neat.
and their quest to take down the magician duo of Stink Bomb and Rot, a parody of
Stink Bomb and
Siegfried
Rot.
and Roy. This is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different mini games in there. I didn't look at the whole like all of it. I just like Desert Bus is the one that is probably the most famous out of all of them.
That's wild.
So again, we have all taken different avenues. Dale finds a classic game that is renowned but is going to mess with people's heads. Mel finds a game that's actually part of a bigger game that has some other interesting things to it. I submit to you Ping Pals for the Nintendo DS.
Tell me
this
more.
is an audio medium. He is holding up a copy of Nintendo DS's Ping Pals.
Yes. Ping Pals. Do you guys remember PictoChat on the DS?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ping Pals is PictoChat
Okay.
Why would you buy it?
because I thought it would be more. I thought it would be like, oh, PictoChat's cool. I think that's dope as hell. So Ping Pals has got to be better because you can make your little own little avatars and you can chat with different things. And then I thought there was going to be, they claimed it was going to be like this AI thing where you could like talk to AI, and it not really, because all the conversations are like a minute long. And it's just a really disappointing game. And so why would I
Oh.
want to give something to somebody that they're going to have fun with, especially if they're my worst enemy? I'm going to give them
That's fair.
Ping Pals for the Nintendo DS because they're going to be like, oh, I get to play this game at least. And it's a social. It's not. Oh, fuck. Like I spent, I think $20 on this when it came out and was immediately sorely disappointed. But you only need one copy of Ping Pals to get started playing and chatting. So if you happen to have other people on the island with you and they have a DS, they don't need a copy of the game, but you don't have other people because it's a deserted island. There's also no internet play with this, so it's not like they can play with other people online. But you can play and chat with up to 7 of your friends at the same time and thousands of different items to customize your Ping Pal. So you get to just, your little tiny little avatar, you get to update it. That's all
That's
you get
it.
to do in this game. Yeah.
And this game does not function over the internet. It
does
only
not.
proximity.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Wow.
Why would
Yep.
this is a
See, this reaction that you guys are having right now is why I would give it to my worst enemy.
it has PictoChat though? Like
It is basically PictoChat. So you could draw, you can like, send it to, but you're sending it to this really dumb AI that's not actually going to respond to the things that you say. It's not going to pick up on like you saying, hey man, what's up? It's just going to give you this automated response that's built into the game. So you have all these hopes of how it's going to be social and fun, and it's just not. And that's what you give your worst enemy.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. I'm so sorry that you bought that game.
Well, the plus side is that my friend Sean also bought the game.
Oh, so you got to chat with each other?
we never played it together because we both were like, this game's fucking stupid. Why did we spend the money on this? But then we both worked at Circuit City at the same time, and we had one copy left, and it was just sitting on the shelf for forever. And we had a little bet going. He and I were in the same like D&D group, right?
Yeah.
And he was running like his own homebrew game. And the bet was that if I could sell the copy of Ping Pals to someone, like legitimately, not like trick them into buying it or whatever, if I could tell somebody what the game was, unironically, and get them to buy a copy, I could get laser eyes for my character. And I fucking did it.
You did it?
I did.
Oh,
yep.
man.
Wow.
It wasn't my proudest moment, but it was my proudest moment. I think it was a grandma buying it's a kid or a game for their kids. It's like, yeah, if their friends have it, they can chat together and they have fun little cartoon things that they can update. And then she's like, wow, that sounds like a great game. I'll buy it. I was like, that's great. It's on clearance. It's only like $3.
I mean, it was $3.
Right?
She didn't spend like
and
full
I
price.
got fucking laser eyes for it. So
that's pretty great.
Yep.
All in all, a good day.
So at least there was something good to come out of Ping Pals, but that's why that's the correct answer for what you give your enemy.
I am looking at Amazon reviews of this game right now, and outside of the like joke 5-star reviews, there's things like, even if it was free, I wouldn't want a copy of Ping Pals unless it would go towards a bonfire. PictoChat with shopping.
Yep.
So weird.
Yeah, I was going through my games and I found this just sitting there, and I just say, I'm going to put this on my desk just so I can always remember Ping Pals. And I'm one day I'll give it to my buddy Sean just as a surprise. Like, oh, hey, look at this.
There are several don't waste your monies and do not buys. One just says real dumb.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So it sounds like you got the right answer here.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yep. It's not, and I can find a lot of fun in dumb things. This one was impossible.
Yeah.
When I wrote this question, I did not realize there would be an objective answer for it. You found it. Oh man, that's great. That's perfect. All right. Anybody got anything else to talk about from a desert island game standpoint?
Nope. I just hope I never get to be on a desert island by myself. Ever.
Yeah.
Unless it turns out to be Animal Crossing.
Yes. That's the only time.
Yeah.
The only exception.
That's fair. One last question. If you had to have a companion on a desert island, who would you pick?
Like a real person?
Sure.
I
would just be by myself.
Mel has chosen no one.
I don't want anybody to have to endure dealing with my dumbass, like trying to survive. Like I would just rather just suck it up, bite the bullet, and just die by myself on an island. I don't want to take anybody down with me.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's a little bit altruistic. Like no one else should have to suffer.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's the right answer. Like especially if I've got that Super Nintendo on all the games, I don't want to have to entertain somebody else. Like I thought maybe like, oh, my wife would be the correct answer, right? But like she's not gonna want to play these games. She's gonna want to do other things, and I'm not gonna want to. Not when I've got a Super Nintendo with the entire library. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
Yeah. Yep. That's fair.
So I guess someone who is industrious enough to make a pizza oven and would make me pizzas is my companion.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Where do you get the cheese from? I have so many questions. That's horrible, sir. That is terrible.
I mean, whatever. My answer is definitely Dan. I'm going to kill him and eat him.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that guy.
Dan. All right. Tell the people where you can be found.
On a desert island with a full library of SNES games. Also in the Discord is Zando Calrissian.
I'm Meliphant. You can find me on the Discord as Meliphant.
With or without the R that you threw in there?
Yeah. Well, without the R. Just Meliphant.
Again, she doesn't want to be found. She wants to be on the desert island by herself. So please look for her as Meliphant.
She wants to be playing The Sims.
Yeah.
I can't blame you. I am a 20-sided ninja in the Discord and on Blue Sky. Once again, thanks immensely to all of our patrons. We really could not do this without you. You help keep it free. And if you're still listening, thanks for listening. Maybe tell your friends and family about the podcast. It's a good one. I like this one. Show this one to them. I don't know. It's a good one.
All right. Tell them I'm not normally this mean, though.
Yeah. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Lie to them.
Tell them to buy Ping Pals, too. I need some friends, damn it.
I need some laser eyes, damn it.
Actually, just tell him to get a DS because I have a copy of Ping Pals, and you only need one to get started chatting.
So dumb. All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah,
Ping pals.
Ping Pals.